Hello, and a warm welcome, and a merry welcome back to the WenDirkCast with me, Jimbo. We will not be discussing the latest MLB updates, transfers, developments. That's all gone out the window because this week is our Christmas winter special, our Q&A. So we've asked on Twitter, X, for your questions, and we're going to read out as many as we can, and we're going to do a duck race in this episode to reveal the 3 winners of the kickoff packs as a thank you for you guys submitting questions. One important note before we get things started: none of what we chat about is financial advice. Do your own scouting or hire a director of Metaverse Football. On the basis of Christmas episode, I couldn't have a Dutchman not be here with me. So I have brought none other than the Dutch deliverer, dressed up in an amazing Father Christmas outfit. So for those on audio, please look at the visuals for this. Zootert, how are you, sir? Merry Christmas, mate.
Ho, ho, ho. Thank you for having me. Merry Christmas, sir.
Oh, my God, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I asked Zootert and said, this Sunday, this time, Christmas Q&A, can you make it? Can you make it? And he went, hang on, hold on, give me a second. And I went, oh, no, he's not going to be able to make it. He literally screenshots the Christmas outfit, the Father Christmas outfit he's wearing right now with an expected delivery of Friday. And he was like, yep, count me in. Count me in. So we've brought the Dutch deliverer, I'm going to call him, of presents, into the studio with us. So we've got Zootert and myself. We're going to go through as many questions as we can because there's about 45 to 50 questions. So there's quite a few. Some of them overlap. So we'll try and read out as many as we can. We are recording this before the Christmas mega live stream. So hopefully when you guys listen to this on the Monday, that will have happened. Well, hopefully it will have happened. And it will either have been absolutely amazing or a chaotic failure. No, it will never be a failure. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I think it will be chaos, but it won't be a failure.
No, it won't be failure, not whatsoever. No, it won't be at all. It's going to be chaotic fun. I think I'm probably the most worried because I'm the one hosting and I feel like I'm looking after them. The youngest one here is having to look after them of all of us. So hopefully that's gone amazing. There is 50,000 MFL up for grabs. There's an Iron Club. It's basically a stone club because it's Bastisa, so it's getting relegated. And 5 kickoff packs. And then a bunch of community members have also donated packs as well. So we've literally got so many things to give away. It's basically just going to be, well, as it should be around Christmas time, the time of giving presents, which can be giving away MFL goodies. So we've got that coming up after this, but you would have already listened or watched that. I'm then doing the Cup final stream tomorrow. And then you've got this you're listening to now. And then on the final match day, the Tuesday, I've got the final match day watch along. So it's, oh my God, it's like a busy 48 hours in the WenDirkCast. But right, before we go into the questions, I want to do a very short weekly update because we're not going to, talk about Diamond League. We're not going to talk about dev updates, all that sort of piece. But obviously, we've got Cup finals tomorrow. We've got the league ending in a couple of days' time. Zootert, have you got what's going on in your agency right now? Anyone battling for the promotion, trying to survive? Any cup finals, or is it pretty calm in your agency for season 10?
The cups were over relatively quick. Got them all through the group stage.
Nice.
And then in the round of 16, the first 2 ice teams went out. Quarterfinals, the stone team and the bronze team went out. So early exit into the cup there. But we could focus fully on the leagues for most of the season. And that's what we did. Got 2 teams in first, 1 in third, and 1 in second. So,
damn.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's been a good season.
Those in first, are they confirmed going up at this point of the season?
I think they're both 6 points ahead of the competition. So, 1 win tonight should seal the deal.
Hopefully in a couple of hours' time then, you'll have at least 1, maybe 2 teams promoted, which is very nice. My second half of the season has gone absolutely tragically for the Wyverns. I think we can all... I'm now thoroughly in the boat of, without a tin foil hat on, that the engine does change. No, I'm kidding. But the Wyverns have bottled it. I will say the league. I don't think we're going to get playoffs after losing to Duff's 5 at the back last night, which was just mega painful. However, we are in contenders tier 4 final, which is big because I think I should be expecting about 70k payout in MFL between the Wyverns, the Worms, who got knocked out in the semi-final, which is annoying, and they're like 5th in Stone. They're just sort of a mid-table team. And the WenDirk MFC, they were so close to getting into the final of the Cup, right? 3-0, like 2-0 down, 2-1, 3-1, battled it all the way to 3-0, and then lost 4-3, which is absolutely painful. But we have secured the Flint Championship. Shock horror. A team of that quality has absolutely bombarded Flint with 3 games to go. So, get your Dutch players ready. Get your Dirk name players ready, because Spark isn't going to know what's going to hit it next season with the WenDirk MFC. And because the community club, I said this right at the beginning of season 10, I will be letting someone else in the WenDirk community manage it for the season as well. So a big thank you to everyone who has, including yourself, Zootert, who has, I won't say donated because I'm giving you revenue share. I'm using your players who was generously, I say donated, players on 4% revenue shares for the season. And hopefully we can, next season we can build on that. But yeah, what else is worth talking about quickly? Bob is 6 points ahead of second in Diamond. I think if he wins tonight and other results go his way, then he can win Diamond, which would be amazing. Hopefully by the time we listen to this, he has won Diamond. Although I did see he drew to Basel last night, and then I think he's got to play Meta Mercenaries second to last match day. So, it's not going to happen, is it? It couldn't happen.
It would be absolute horror if something like that would happen again.
I love you, Bob, but there's a part of me which I love the drama. I love it. I want it to happen. But no, I think I'd love it to happen next season when Bob's already got a championship under his belt. I think that's what I'd love to see. And
he deserves it. He deserved it last season. He deserves it this season.
100%. Yeah, Bob 100% deserves Diamond, especially when we had him on the pod for the first time. He was in Iron, I think it was. And he said, I just want to win. That's all I want to do. And now, I think maybe aside from like the Titans Cup, winning the Titans Cup final, right? If he wins Diamond, which hopefully by the time we listen to this he has, he's done it. He's reached the top. He will be, if you had a FIFA MFL club rankings, he will be number 1 on that, which has been probably, even when Meta hasn't won it for like a season, Meta has always been that team dominating that pedestal. So hopefully Bob wins it. And then with the Titans Cup final, which will be tomorrow, will be between Bisho Milano and Tango, which I believe is an exact repeat of last season's final as well. So maybe can Big Wilbert and Tango, Mr. Crystal Palace, Fulham, who always finishes mid-table and Diamond, can they make it to, 2 Titan wins in a row, back to back? Do you believe he can, Zootert?
I think he has the experience how to win the cups. He knows how to make it last in there. So full faith in him.
Yeah, I believe in a back-to-back from Big Wilb. Right, Zootert, before we fly into questions, any other business from you? Should we get cracking into it?
Let's get going.
Right, so Zoomers and I have a big document of all of the questions, and we're going to take it in turns asking each other. So I'm going to maybe nail 2 in 1 here. We've got questions from Cold Peter and Nathan Marv. And Cold Peter says, what factors influence your decision about which player you should captain or player should be captain? And then Nathan says, what is the best captain choice and why is it the goalkeeper? So they're kind of 2 questions put together. Zootert, how would you answer that?
For me, it will never be the goalkeeper. I know people have very strong opinions about that, but for me, it will never be the goalkeeper.
I'm thoroughly in the goalkeeper boat here, so this is really interesting. Why do you not pick goalkeeper?
Because when I captain my defender, I get the same overall increase and 1 more.
But your goalkeeper gets a +2. That's the thing I'm looking at.
Now, for me, it will always go to my weakest defender, get the defensive stability, and ride on that.
I mean, saying that with the goalkeeper, I captain the Wyverns because they already have. I think it's very dependent on your situation in your club. My example, why I captain my bronze goalkeeper is my keeper in bronze is already 86 rated. If I captain him, he becomes an 88 rated goalkeeper, which is, probably 2 or 3 above, or maybe even 4 above the average for a goalkeeper in the whole of the bronze division. And I'm very much in the camp of, if you have a goalkeeper who was 2, 3, 4, maybe 3, 4, 5 overalls above the average, that's a really big advantage to have. I have no proof of it, of what I'm about to say, but I feel like I can easily go, he's probably, won me at least 6 points just from his saves. There was a reason why in the first half of the season, I only conceded 3 goals in the league, and that was in one game I rotated in. Every other was just clean sheet, bang, bang. And then I conceded like 15 in the second half of the season, but engine changes. So that's what influences my decision. Sometimes if I feel like I lack pace, I'll go for the striker because then you get that pace boost. But sometimes I'm always like, if I have a player who's a couple of overall above the average, give him the goalkeeper, give him the captaincy, push that further. Zootert, what's your feelings on captaining a midfielder? Because I feel like they don't get as much love these days with captaincy from what I'm seeing across the game.
I've tried it, but it feels like it never has any real effect on your tactics, on the gameplay. I just don't see the increase that the team gets from the midfielder captaincy reflected into the tactics.
No, I completely agree because it's a +2 passing, +1 dribbling, I think it is. It just doesn't feel like those bonuses are worth it. You feel like even though you're still gaining, +3 attributes on each player, feels like you're not. It feels like you get more for doing it on defender, striker, not in your case goalkeeper, but for me goalkeeper. So yeah, Cole, Peter, and Nathan, there are answers to your questions. Zootert, fire us away with one.
Let's get the question from Hot Giant
Zootert,
in here.
Father Zootert, I'll call you.
Thank you. Be sure to mention, name me the all podcasts, otherwise you get calls in your stockings.
Say that again.
Be sure to mention my name like Father Zootert the entire pod, otherwise you get call in your stockings.
Pod. Okay. Yeah. I do have a Norwich City. You can't see it, but behind my lovely wooden door, I do have a Norwich City stocking in there. So maybe if I don't say Father Zootert throughout the rest of this, well, I just feel a bit religious. Like go to church, Father Zootert. But anyway, sorry. Continue.
Sandturt could be one.
Sandturt.
Okay, let's get on with Hud's question. What is one thing you would like to add to the game that hasn't really been spoken about or isn't a popular idea?
Oh, wow, what a question. What is one thing you would add to the game that hasn't really been spoken about, isn't a popular idea? I quite like, and it has been spoken about before, but I wouldn't say it's a popular idea. Block button? No. I quite like the idea of this, and I believe it was Josh XLs in the Paris meetup sort of made this aware to me about some sort of like managerial rating that is driven by stats, whether it's do you fulfill your contracts, do you not fulfill your contracts, do you, the average revenue share or like how well they've performed, some sort of metric, almost like a Trustpilot review that allows other managers to look at them and go, are they a trustworthy person to loan to or loan from? And I wouldn't say that's a popular idea and isn't really spoken about. And I wanted to be purely data driven. So someone can't go, Father Zootert, you didn't, fulfill my, 28 game minimum clause on my contract. I'm going to give you a 0 out of 5 stars and leave you a poor, poor review on, MFL reviews or whatever. No, it's purely data driven. And I think sometimes, especially when it comes to like loaning in players, if it's a new user, you feel like they've got to gain their trust and they have to, for a new user, if they can go, right, this person sort of can be a bit manipulative in their Dubville mill, average response time on contract offers like 17 days. Okay, maybe I won't give him some of my players. So that's going to be my answer to that one.
I think that's a very good one. I remember talking to Josh about that during Paris as well, because at the moment we really don't have any way of knowing the manager or communicating with the managers really inside of MFL itself. It all happens in secondary apps, Discord, X, whatever. So it would be really good to see something in the game itself, how we can learn more about the manager and see which ones we actually want to trust with our players or loan players from. and get them to know the stats in that way.
Yeah, I think it has to be data driven, so no one can no feelings and emotion can alter the outcome, sort of thing. I see. Did you see the bonus question that HUD put on there?
And then I think the bonus question from HUD is specifically directed at you.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Would you rather Norwich win the championship or one of your clubs win the Diamond League? And if I'm allowed to say my opinion first, I don't think either are realistic in the next 5 years.
All right. I might stop calling you Father Zootert if you're going to start saying things like that for the rest of the episode. See, I was going to say maybe if you could change to winning the Premier League, but then I think that's too obvious. That would always be Norwich winning the Premier League. Would you rather Norwich win the Championship or one of your clubs win the Diamond League? And I've got to think of this from the mindset of I've already said Norwich win the Championship, so I kind of need to remove that from my brain. I would love to see I think I'd rather see one of my clubs win the Diamond League. I think we'll just take the second place route and get automatics in the Championship. Who cares? You get more money in the playoffs anyway in the Championship. Unlike in MFL, you get more money in the playoffs. So one of my teams to win Diamond. But which one's probably going to happen first, if any? Probably Norwich win the Championship.
Yeah.
Right. Let's find another one here. I like this one from Alexis. So I'm scrolling through these questions up and down, Zootert. This one's from Alexis. He says, what would be the balanced amount of 99 overall players in MFL? We already have Beckman, our first 99. Will we see many more? What would be a good balanced amount?
I think as players will not decline in overall, we really have to keep the maximum of 99 players at one point in the game to, I would say, 2 or 3 maximum. I think that reflects also in the real world that those are the amount of players you will actually see of the highest caliber that they are. And then we have to see at what point in their career do they actually reach at 99.
Yeah. If
at some point we have a player who's 24 who has magically reached the 99 and he's going to be there for the next 10 seasons, to see how that will impact the game as an overall.
Yeah, that is very true. I think maybe we could think of 99 overall players as like your Messi and Ronaldo, like those top two being 99 for seemingly being like 10 years. If we're going by like FIFA overalls, for example, being those top two for ages. And you're right, we don't think we can have like 99 overall players at a young age unless they've been like super boosted somehow. Are we going to get sports enhancing drugs in MFL? No, I don't think we are. But Beckman, he's 34, 35, and he's hit 99 this season. So I would agree. I'd say maybe like a maximum at one point would be like 5, but I still think that's too many. I still think 3, because you remember, regardless of how big the supply of players is, it's still only going to be 12 teams in Diamond. We're not going to get suddenly, if we have 24 teams in Diamond, maybe a bit of a different story. We only have 12 teams in Diamond. And imagine you're playing, they've got 5 ultimates of 99 rated players. You've got like 2 strikers, goalkeeper, 2 centre-backs. You'd be like, well, fuck it, I might as well just not even, you just...
log out of the game, delete my browser, I'm done. No chance of winning this.
Be like, well, I'm not going to sell it, I'm just going to leave. And let these players just do nothing for the rest of their lives. But I think we can probably both agree like 3. You said 3. That seems probably
do 3.
Amount. Yeah, so I'll go
1 point, yeah. Okay, let's go random here. Got a question here from Cerebus MFC. What is the hardest position to find quality players for you?
To find quality players? I think it's anything in that right mid, left mid, centre mid position. Because of how the matrix is set up for that position, you can't look at just big number on front of card, which, my bigger piece of advice, people, if you don't already know, just don't always look at big number on front of card means, good. Dive into the stats, because we all know it's probably one of the most agreed upon opinions in MFL that why do left mid, right mid, and centre mid have 0% of their overall being influenced by pace? If I gave you a 99 pace player, Zootert, versus a 60, you'd always pick and everything else remained the same. You'd always pick the
100%, yeah.
99. You'd always pick the 99. So
Even if the 99 player has 3-4 lower overall, you would probably still take him because he would just run down that defense and cause havoc.
Exactly. So that I think it's that middle position, because sometimes you find with those players, like they've got three or four, maybe 2 or 3 really good stats, and then one lets them down. Like they have your centre mid will have the passing, the defense, the physical, and then we'll have like 40 pace. And it's so hard to find a player of that quality that has everything and also like the pace, for example. So that would be probably what I would say would be my hardest position to find quality in.
I think for me, especially the last 2-3 seasons, it has been the right back. I've been able to fill my left mid, right mid positions pretty well last couple of seasons, but for the right back, I just can't find any good deals on the market. I've been looking all over Discord to find anything that would fit the profile that I need, but just no one.
Yeah, sometimes you find that fullbacks are just a really unique position where, sometimes you're just like, I need to find one, I need one, and then just suddenly none appear. And it's like, a bit like a COVID, there's a shortage of pasta and toilet rolls, suddenly a shortage of decent right backs or fullbacks. So don't think you're the only one who has that.
So this season, in one of the last days of the transfer market, I was able to find an 84 right back, but my backup one was still a 77 who tries to get by in bronze, and hopefully I will still be able to find someone for next season. So there's a better backup option there.
So what else should we go for now? Some of these are like questions. Some of them are almost like myth busting. So this one here from Ryan the Beast, the best. Does playing a multi-position player in just one of their positions progress them as much as playing them in all of their other positions? Bit of a mouthful, but do you understand that question, Father Zootert?
Yeah, and to be honest, I have no clue. I just play them where their stats match up the best, and if that gives me better progression for that actual position or for his original position, no clue.
I think it's probably one someone needs to do a bit of theory crafting on. But I think, do you get like, is your XP delivered differently depending on where you play in a different position? No, because it gets like each stat gets a base layer, and then it's sort of funneled according to what makes up their overall, which obviously is their primary position. But the argument is, which if you play a player in his second or third position and he performs better in that position, gets a better match rating, therefore you could say it kind of has influenced progression.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the way you look at it. For example, I've been blessed. I actually had a tier break today in from rare to Lego. Finally, this 23-year-old, which is actually a really great age to hit Lego. I think it's probably my youngest Lego by age. 85 rated right back, and he's 89 centre back. But the blessing is that because he's got that sort of misfit, people are like, oh yeah, you should have him in like silver or gold for progression. Well, actually, right now, 85 in bronze is a very nice level for him to be at, unless he does still keep progressing. But I play him at centre-back because he plays better then, gets better racings. So I'll continue to do that until proven otherwise by the data. But that's what I would think I'd say as well.
Now, I think for those type of players to have them in a lower league, it's actually better because they get the better training experience as well in there. So they're the perfect fit to keep a bit low and just to quickly farm progression on, aside just from the match performance they will give in there.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's your question next, isn't it? Yep.
Yeah. On here from Logani MFL, he asked, what do you think of any new formations that you would like to see to add to MFL in the near future?
Can we remove some? Can we remove all 5 of the back formations? Because they've been the bane of my life this season. There's been a couple that I know some people would like to see, regarding, I think it's the 4-3-3s and how the distribution of like the cam and the CDM or the centre mids are within. I can't remember exactly. I don't play 4-3-3, so I can't remember at the top of my head like all the different variation. But it's one where it's like you've got a cam and you have like 2 CDMs. Why can't it be a cam with 2 centre mids? And it's like, can we have that little change into it? So that's probably where I would go with that. Maybe a 3-5-2, but the midfield three are all centre mids, or a 3-5-2 where it's, my 3-5-2-B is a cam and two CDMs. Can I have it as a, like a cam and two centre mids? Can I have a bit more variation in that front? That's probably where I'd probably be looking at for new formations.
Well, especially for this episode, I would say that I would like to see a Christmas tree formation. So that would be one striker on top, let's say 2 cams, left mid, right mid. Now, how are we going to finish a tree? You go 6 player, with a 4-back and one, what's that old CDM position called, who was playing right behind the actual CDMs for CBs?
Yeah, I don't know. What the CDM who drops really deep.
Yeah.
I don't know the correct term, but I'll just call him the quarterback. That's what I sometimes call them. I don't know.
Throw him there as well to have the stem of the tree, and that's your perfect Christmas formation.
There we go. No, that should be in there. Christmas tree formation. Right. I'm gonna one below him from So Rare Coach. Does the Christmas campaign and the Holiday Heroes event mark the start for further cash tournaments? Ooh, what do you think, Father Zootert?
I would hope so, yeah. From what we've seen now from the Heroes Tournament, it's set up very well, and we think everyone is very excited to see how the Masters will actually plan out. And it's just nice to have an extra competitive competition in there to really test ourselves against the top managers who all had to work hard to actually qualify for those competitions. So I really hope that even if it's not cash prizes for future tournaments like this, that we just see more of this to actually have competitions between the strongest managers within your divisions.
Yeah, does it set up something for almost like a Champions League style, or dare I say, like World Cup and international sort of style tournament? I hope it does mark the start of future cash tournaments, but I wouldn't expect them to be regular occurrence. This is like season 10 happening on the same time around Christmas. Do we see it like every 10 seasons or something along those lines? And obviously the one caveat with this is that these are dapper dollars which you have to spend. I guess you could spend, sell, and then withdraw, but you can't win $200 and withdraw $200. It's not quite like that. So I guess it's almost like So Rare market credits, but it's 100%. Not rather than like 50% or so. So I hope it does start, or does mark the start of future cash, prize tournaments. And I think ultimately we've seen this in the past. I remember I think it had some moves on maybe earlier in the like episode 60s odd, which is quite crazy to say. And he was like, I'd like to see sort of like cash prizes, because that's cash figures, cash money on a screen, on a title, is what really grabs a lot of sort of like the fantasy or those sort of players, So Rare players, etc. That's probably something they'd like to see would be money, cash in the game. So I hope it does mark the start. That's basically what I'm going to say.
To hoping and filling our pockets with dapper dollars, just like in the Disney days.
Yeah, exactly. Double D's again. Disney dollars, dapper dollars.
To stay in the theme of MFL hosted tournaments, we got a question from Henduzi here asking, with the World Cup coming up, what would you like to see for an MFL with community country managers?
Would I like to see an MFL event? Yes. Do I think we get one? Yes. I don't think there's a world.
Would you be applying again for the position of manager?
I don't know. It'll be 2-year anniversary, won't it, of the shambles that was England managerial career. Although it was like, I think I lost to a drew one or something like that. It was a complete shambles. I did score 2 goals against Serbia, which we didn't manage to do in the Euros. So Southgate, I beat that. I imagine it might contain some of the same elements like the community manager piece. Not sure how it would work with the player wise, because like last time there was maybe a bit of chat about, well, actually you can use someone else's player, like their NFT, for them sort of thing rather than permission. I guess that's the whole rev share bit kind of eliminates that, I'm hoping. I don't know what it would look like, but I imagine it's probably quite similar to what we had previously, where you have shares or it's a MFL puts up a prize pool, but then we guys generate a prize pool ourselves, which is how the last one worked. But obviously there'd be way more teams because how many teams are there in this World Cup? It's like loads. It's like 4.
Way too many.
Oh yeah, it's too many. I was looking at how many groups there were. I was like, hang on, I'm scrolling down for ages here. So how did all these small nations get in here? Well, that's why. But obviously the one thing will be we don't have players from Haiti or Curacao, however it's pronounced. We don't have players from those nations. Obviously in the Euros we substituted it with actually bringing in like Albania and Georgia and Greece, I believe it was, and we had to substitute out some because we didn't actually have those players in the game. So that was something to consider as well, how they do that. But we definitely see something. I think that's probably the safest bet there.
I think 100% there will be one, and I'm excited for it for one because I just missed out on the last World Cup on MFL, so I'm excited to see what the team will think of to actually implement this time for the World Cup. And do you think, it's also a second follow-up question for Medusi, do you think there will be something tiered, so like we have with the Heroes now, or should it just be the tournament for the best of the best?
Could this Holiday Heroes be a little, a test the waters,
a trial run for a World Cup competition?
Exactly. How does, speaking of trial clubs, rest in peace. Looking at that tiered format, it could do, because that was one of the criticisms of the Euros was actually it's just the best of the best and none of my players get used and people want their players to be used. Could we see something of that format? I think we potentially could. I think there could be a tiered like we have in the Holiday Heroes. To say something that's completely on the fence, would I be surprised if they do? No. Would I be surprised if they did? No. So it's completely on the fence. But if this goes well, and I guess maybe as a community we've got a part to play, like how many ultimates are going to be in tier 5? Hopefully 0, but the chances, probability is slim. Not 0.
I think if they are going down that route, you have to tier it based on an overall level and not on a division level, because the players we sometimes see in the lower divisions now that are way outclassed for they just shouldn't belong in those big open tournaments where you can get in the players from those divisions. So just keep it as an overall tier tournament, I would say would be the best option.
I agree. And just one add a thing. I said about the players and the nations, etc. It could be a potential for them to introduce new nations as players. Because we already have countries that are in, like Haiti, for example. Andy is a big fan of that, and he has plenty because that's where he's from. But I know he's like, can I get Haitian players? Could this be an opportunity for MFL to expand their nation player base or player nation base? It could be. So, you never know. I see we had one from Jamie here, which is to do with captains. So I'll quickly read it out, and we should have included the other one. There's Jamie LFC. Is it ever worth captaining anyone other than your striker or goalkeeper? I think we kind of highlighted that right at the beginning, so we won't answer it. But Zootert, anyone other than striker or goalkeeper, you'd say defender.
If your defense is strong enough, your keeper doesn't need to ever catch a ball, so you don't even need to captain your goalkeeper.
What's the cringe saying? Defense wins championships or something like that, isn't it? From Charles Young, or DQS Smooth, I believe his name is in MFL. What is your MFL Christmas wish? What new product features? Well, I'm kind of asking this to Father. No, I'll let you ask that one to me because Father Zootert. Okay. I can't really ask Father Christmas what his wish is, right? That's not how it works. FPL Cuppa. If you could use a 99 rated player in your team in any position, what position would you choose?
I think for me it would be a CDM.
Ooh, okay.
The way I use my CDMs, they drop back to give defense stability, but they also ping the passes right over to the players up front to actually get into the right position and score the goals. So I think in that position it would really offer me the most tactical ways to shift around a player to actually have the most benefit out of it.
Okay, I would go straight for a striker. I'm just going to be that greedy man, want a striker, score a lot of goals. Player goes through 1-on-1. You feel like there's surely a 99% chance he scores, right? Surely that's how it works, right? Overall equals the probability of that player scoring on a 1-on-1.
But what if that the opponent has captained their goalkeeper?
Maybe it's just 99 versus 99, 1%. Just flip a coin, 50-50 at that point. Just flip it. Just flip a coin. Flip a coin. I'll be happy with flipping a coin. No, I wouldn't. Imagine flipping a coin. But yeah, you do CDM. I'll do striker. That's what I'll do there.
Get a Charles Young question in there now then. As the Father Christmas on this pod episode, we got a question here from Charles Young, who I think I should really ask Jimbo here. What is on your MFL Christmas wish list? What is the product you would like to see under your Christmas tree, wrapped up in a nice MFL wrapping paper? And what do you expect the product will look like at this time next year? I think I read that wrong.
No, you do. I think it's like two. I think he's asked two questions in one there. They're kind of separate from each other. What new product features would you like to see wrapped up under the Christmas tree? I would like to see something around. I quite like the idea of formation familiarity, but it could be a bit dangerous in terms of how you format that. But I think something to do with player roles could be quite nice. Whether you have particular stats that suit a particular player role, and you can almost cater them to it. Set piece, tactics. Let me do set piece tactics. I don't want to play my centre backs on high positional freedom, but I want them going up for corners and indirect free kicks. It feels like it's either one or the other with how that is right now. I want to have my centre backs in the box. They're 6'4", 6'6" for a reason. Just because but I want them to not be on positional freedom high. Let me have that.
I want that big guy to be at the first post and the corner taker delivering exactly on his head and bang, goal.
Yeah, I want some.
That's all I want.
I feel like at a basic level, it could be like pick which players go forward for set pieces. There'll be some absolute muppet who puts everyone forward, and then it'll be like 21 players in the box for a corner. 20 players, in the box for a corner, unless you can put up your goalkeeper in the last minute. Things like that. Can I chop my keeper up in the last minute and have him go, knock a header in? Let me have that. That's what I hope under my Christmas tree. Set piece tactics. Let me have that.
Yeah, I think for this one, you took the words right out of my mouth. I think that's been something I've been wanting for a long time. And just to have maybe one or two different free corner routines in there as well, to actually have some type of different tactics that you could use throughout the match as well.
And his second question was, what do you expect the product to look like in this time next year? Well, that is a very... on the basis that I know that Matt and the MFL guys don't look a year ahead, then it's going to be pretty hard for us to look a year ahead. But I think something along the lines of, that continental pyramid, or like some sort of other way of developing players, whether it's like an academy. I would like to think I would hope we see something like that. And also maybe like reward packs at a tied to age. That's a big one, but they have to be like quite high value in terms of they have to be justified. That's the one thing MFL's mind is always the economics and how the economy of the game is. There'd have to be a fair whack of a price to justify, being able to basically guarantee a player between like 16 and say 24. I don't think maybe they could offer like 16 to 20, but you better believe they are not going to be cheap, because
and they shouldn't be.
No, they shouldn't be cheap. They're not. And it has to be an opportunity cost. Or for the user, I can buy that player, but I don't have enough MFL to buy all the other packs. You give people a choice. I think you give people a choice, and then let them do what they want with it. They want to save the MFL and save up for one, great. But they might get a honking player who's like 20 years old, and I should have just bought like a regular one, that sort of thing. Maybe that's what I feel like. Maybe the product looks like in a year's time.
Yeah. I think if you look at the game a year ago, And compared to the game now, or even a 6-month period, there's no way in telling how different the game will look. We know it will look very different. We know there will be a lot of improvements. And that the product will probably look a lot different. And what I would expect the product to look like next year, I think I'll just highlight one of the features I will think we'll see next year. And that is, I think, the start of 3D realism in goals before it moves on to actual 3D realism throughout the whole macro highlights.
Ooh, okay. And then we've got a couple of questions on that, so maybe I think we should go on to them next. Then I think there's quite a few. So, !_goat in caps lock. The goat is. Do you believe 3D games will be implemented, and when? Yes. Guess a season when it's starting. Wish you all the best. Thank you. Wishing you all the best, and a Merry Christmas to you as well. Well, that's Zootert.
Yeah, just to go on that, I think they're gonna implement it in smaller blocks. So maybe first it will be on the replay of the goal, and then slowly add it to the bigger parts of the game. That we can see full matches, 90 minutes long, 3D, and just to enjoy that way. I think it will be great for a stream, but
just to add on, see, Dr. Petit's also said, when will we get a 3D mode on the goals? So that's almost saying what my only thing with 3D, right, the full 3D, is this is a browser-based game. Are we gonna have to start, when a new release comes up on Steam, like Battlefield 6, minimum specification requirements, a GTX 5070 Ti, and it's like, I felt like my phone, an iPhone 15 or something, had a bit of a heart attack and felt, and was in a bit of hospital mode when we were playing Rabid Play and everything was going crazy. It was getting quite hot, particularly quite slow and a bit unwatchable at times. How's that going to look on your phone? That's all I'm going to say. That could be a little bit of a touchy one. But what I'd love to see 3D goals is like a 2.5 step, we'll call it. Of course I would, because I know Hoodwink said it on the Ramble stuff before. You see a goal. We don't see the commentary if we're in full screen, which actually bring the commentary back for full screen would be really nice to give a bit of context to the things happening on the pitch. But you don't know if it's like a volley, if it's a scorpion kick, if it's just a bog standard header. You don't know any of that. Give us a commentary in there, and then XMFL, give us 3D. Let us see some ball. When a free kick is saved and the keeper teleports, let me see that teleportation. let me see that keeper teleport to try and save that.
All teleportation are just beautiful cat-like dives where it's the most elegant way of saving from the goalkeeper you can imagine.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, could we see them this year? Yes. Would it to use the I think the big, do I see it in like Q1 or Q2 or Q3? Probably not. Maybe it's a Christmas surprise for next year. But if I told you this time next year we'll get 2.5 3D goals, you'd probably say that's a pretty good winter for me.
Yeah, I'll go for it.
Yeah, to put a number on it, season-wise, I think I think I probably got a better chance in the lottery, maybe. I'm gonna do this question. I'm gonna answer the next one afterwards because it's a bit of an in-between question. This is the second one from Cerberus, and he said, "Favorite stadium food."
I think when you go to a stadium, it has to be something that's you can easily hold in one hand. You got your beer in the other hand.
Yeah.
And that's the way you are at the stadium. So I think for me it would be something like a hot dog or something.
Yeah.
You can just jump up out of your chair, take the bite while you're celebrating goals, take a sip of your beer, and that's life.
I really agree. It's got to be one-handed, essentially. I know that when we go to away games, like to try like the local, the stadium's hot dogs. Usually they're absolutely dire, especially in the away end. But it's an experience. I've been to QPR and it was like this rubbery plastic thing and a pint of like the world's worst. I think the only thing they had on tap was like Carling, and it was horrendous. We're like, we've got this lukewarm bottom of the barrel Carling and this like disgusting looking hot dog, which I'm pretty sure we left the pint on the floor and just chucked 3/4 of the hot dog in the bin. It was that bad. And then we on a Tuesday night drew 1-1 to QPR. But it was I think that's it. At the Norwich ground where I'm sat, it's quite they spent a lot of money on the inside of the stadium where I'm at. so I can get like a burger and chips before the game, and that's quite nice. There's loads of screens, and that's quite nice to chill and sit down. But there's like these really nice sausage rolls which you can go get. But oh my word, it's like you just eat it, and everyone you can tell who's had a sausage roll. There's a nice pile of crumbs in every part of the stadium.
They're probably covered in it. They're all around their seat. You see the crumbs.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to wear a beard. No, so you wouldn't want to have a beard like you do, Father Zootert, when it comes to that. Let's go. Duncan Chappell is my real one. What frustrates you more? Barely any progression on a day, or an underdog win when you're the favourite? What a Dirk dilemma that is.
I think barely any progression. We get used to more as the season progresses. So all the seasons we've been here now, we know that after the mid-season, progression just drops and we don't see anything. So I think at some point of the season we are desensitized to that. But when you're first and you're playing 12, you lose the game. That always feels so hard. And it always feels undeserved, or you just rotate a few players in that game to maintain your fitness, and you can blame it on that, but it never feels good.
Yeah, I would. It's the underdog one for me as well. I think you're right on the progression piece, that we get a bit more, accustomed to lack of progression. I know my second half season's been my worst season for progression, and I've had a Lego tier break just now. Today was probably my best day, and we've got like 2 more training sessions left, which is actually criminal, by the way, how quick, because this day's been shifted
it's
like
insane.
As a day. It's quite sad. So I would go for the underdog. I hate it when I lose as a favourite. It's just, especially when it's a big underdog, you just want to like shrivel up and curl up at a ball and just sleep. I bet they die.
And then get shown on stream as well, and it's even worse.
Yeah. There's me going like, "Oh, we won this game last time, 6-0, lose 2-0." I was like, "What?" And I actually got beat pretty convincingly as well. It wasn't like a 2-0 smash and grab. It was this guy played me. He played me. So at that point, just got to throw up and say, like, was he a better manager than me? No way. Variance. Only
it's always variance.
Absolute variance happened in that game. Absolute variance. So yeah, that's how I'd answer that as well.
Next question we got is from Maurix. He is asking, will there be another live event in 2026, like the one in the Parc des Princes Paris?
Oh, what an event, hey? What an event. Well, I need to get my finger up my arse and organise a UK one. We'll try and start to organise a UK one. But to be fair, winter and then buying a house isn't exactly the two things I want to try and organise something. But I'm hoping maybe like the first or second like FA Cup rounds that happen in the UK, like end of Q1, we can try and do something then. But does the MFL like organised one? Now, like the World Cup's coming up, but that would be pretty tough. I could see like another Paris one, or like a Central European, like London or Paris, around the World Cup for those who aren't in the World Cup, to do like a World Cup watch along, and to a degree. You know, could it be when they reveal like big website changes? Last time it was the redesign. Matt said it won't be. It'll be Q1 at the very earliest. We'll see some of the design changes in the website. Could it be like flicking the Christmas lights on but I think maybe like a Paris or London event orientated around the World Cup. I think we could potentially see. That's going to be my guess there.
And that one will be the big one. The one you were hosting will be the baby event compared to that.
No, what do you want about, mate? When Dirk has an unlimited budget, we've got some Saudi oilers to come sponsor us. The duck game is now sponsoring us. No, they're not. They're not. I wish. But yeah, I think probably like a Paris or London. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think for at least the European user base, of course, those are the best and easiest to get to. But I think the American managers and men from all around the world will have their say in it as well. To if it will be in Europe again.
Yeah, I think it's got to be somewhere in Europe and Central. Paris was actually not a bad location for it, really, to be fair.
We just got screwed over with strikes that weekend.
screwed by the French. Where have we seen that before, WenDirk Community? Where have we seen that before, eh?
Don't want to talk about it. Don't want to think about it.
Once is a anomaly. What, two's a trend? Oh no, what was it? Two's a coincidence. Three's a trend. If it happens a third time, folks, I'm telling you, tinfoil hats are covered straight off.
Yeah, no more French players in my agency. No more in my clubs. They're all out.
Right. What has been from FPL Westy? What has been your personal single favourite moment at MFL since it began?
There, I'm gonna have to say the meetup in Paris. Think
you bugger.
that was just the moment for me personally where it changed from just a game to an actual experience, and you actually know the managers you are interacting with almost every day. Not just behind the screen, but you see them in real life. You know who they are, what they sound like, and it just makes the experience more real.
Yeah, I can't. I don't think I can disagree with that from even my. I'm not going to disagree with it whatsoever, but I can't get away from that being my favorite time as well. Like you said, being able to meet other managers. I think from a WenDirk point of view, if you would have asked me when Cav and I first created this channel, we'd be meeting in Paris, and it'd be at the park, Parc des Princes, and this may sound about cheesy, but we were doing a bloody blue kit quiz in the stadium, right? From a bit of a personal picture, that's quite mental, and I really enjoyed that. And there's a couple pictures I remember doing, like I think in the vlog or something, it's like, would it be a WenDirk meetup without a quiz sort of thing? And to an extent, I know we didn't really do too much in terms of WenDirk, but MFL kind of hosted that and brought us, brought WenDirk into the frame with that sort of thing. Like, this is a MFL and WenDirk event, which I think is something I'll never forget. But I think if we had to go maybe outside of the meetup, I think it'd probably be just like the continuation of this and like celebrating the 100th episode. That was amazing. So, I think the what do you call it? The Paris meetup, and then celebrating the 100th episode milestone of the WenDirkCast. That's gonna be my one.
And here's to 100, 200, 300 more.
Oh,
when will it stop?
Crikey, we don't know. When will it stop? We're just too much momentum now. We can't stop. It's like a train when they try and stop. We just got to keep going for another 400-500 more is yet before they can actually stop.
The question here from Apex NGH1, who wants to know, when will we see Jimbo's beautiful face on the manager card, or when will we see manager cards in general?
I think a little manager card you could share would be really good. I've seen some stuff recently. I think it was like football.fun had this little card, and there's something along those lines. It was like, I don't know, is it how well you've done or some sort of performance? That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Father Zootert, matches played, goals scored, goals conceded, trophies. And then it sometimes puts it all together in a little matrix and gives you an overall. How cool would something like that be? That maybe it's every season or every year or something along those lines. That would be quite cool. But maybe your own, your photo in the game is great, but I can't click on it and make it bigger. Maybe if it was on an ultimate car design, that could be quite cool. Or maybe everyone starts as a common and you have to rank it up. Has no impact on any performance aside from aesthetics, but it looks cool. And if you give someone the ability to move up the ladder in something for free and cosmetic wise has no impact, people are going to do it. That's what I'm going to say.
I think it would be great as an end of season recap, a Spotify rap type thing, just to have your manager card and just show your achievements throughout the season, your highest performing team, the best player in your agency, the highest rating of the player, something like that. You just have a quick recap of the season you can share around online for everyone to enjoy.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Let's get it, MFL. Let's make it happen. So let's make it happen.
2 match days to get to do it. So chop.
Chop. Yeah. Well, I'm assuming they might have something to do with it wrapped up because I think they did one last year, didn't they? Marco said, will we ever see goal animations one day? I think we kind of answered that maybe in the 2.5 D universe, so we'll cover that one. Stanley said, what's the biggest goal you want to achieve in 2025? Maybe you're supposed to say 2026 because I copied and pasted that, so it's got to say 2025. But Stanley, we'll assume that's supposed to be 2026. Zootert, what's the biggest goal you want to achieve in 2026?
2026. Let's get to Diamond.
Ooh, okay then. Diamond,
I
Diamond
have to go
Dutch
down
deliverer.
the Bob route. When he was in Iron, he promised to go all the way to Diamond. So
Yeah.
I'm in Bronze now, so it's a quicker path there. So saying it now, going to Diamond.
Okay, I was going to ask a probability, but probably he's going to be 100%. So it's not even worth me.
Of course.
Worth
when
me
you
saying.
believe, it's always possible.
Exactly. Impossible just stands for I am possible, whatever the stupid nonsense is. Right. It's your question, isn't it? Sorry, I was getting a bit ahead of myself there.
What do we have left? Question from Core Arpit. What makes the kickoff pack special compared to other packs?
Easy one. Father Zootert has blessed them, not just from a Father Christmas point of view, but he's blessed them so much that they will be upgrades.
Sprinkled all of the pixie dust over the packs, and they got a bigger chance of upgrades.
If they're not upgrades, you can go onto the MFL support chat and talk to Lucas, and he will give you 3 legendaries as compensation if you don't get an upgrade.
Wow.
Yeah. Lucas.
Is this a guarantee?
Lucas has told me this. I could say this, so no upgrade. 3 legendary players you can get. So hopefully for MFL
going on to the market now to buy a few kickoff packs. Just one moment.
No,
please.
These are the 3 kickoff packs that we're giving away. So you can't manipulate this. You can't manipulate this. Jarko Rossi. I'm going to combine Jarko Rossi and Barky McLovin, our good friend of the pod, Jason, because Jason says, if I can find it, where on earth did I put it? Jason says, if you were to start your MFL journey again today, knowing what you know, what would you do differently? And then Jarko Rossi was, what do you suggest for a beginner? So I'm going to kind of combine those together.
Get to know your fellow managers. Be active in the communities, be active in the Discords. I don't care where it is, but get familiar with the managers who play the game, who can loan your players, who can give you tactical advice. That is the most important thing in the community aspect of it.
Yeah, I can't really go wrong with that. I think it was even James when he came on last week said, he was told by people in the Ramble or whatever, like get into different communities. And you may be a bit shy or a bit awkward to maybe introduce yourself, but we're literally guys behind a keyboard playing about football. Right? Some of us put our face online for other people to see and make a mockery of ourselves like we are right now, wearing these silly outfits for content for you guys.
What silly outfits?
Sorry, I'm just looking at myself with my bright yellow and green. No, you're just Father Zootert. You are just wearing the usual outfit.
This is Father Zooter's everyday outfit.
Yeah,
so
that never gets washed. Just because it never gets dirty. It's quite frankly how it works. Get in the communities, introduce yourself. You will see the benefit long term. The sooner you can get talking to people, gain their trust, get within within groups. You will make friends for years, probably life in some senses. But also do something differently. I'd probably tap into the low market a bit more. It's kind of hard for me to say that in a sense, actually, because low market was never actually a thing when I joined. It got developed. But I would say if I did join and I didn't use a low market, I would tell myself to go use it. Unless you're hoodwinked because he doesn't like giving out rev share. He hates me saying that. So that's why I said it. And also just read the white paper constantly as well. That will really, really help you just to understand the basics. It does get updated actually frequently. I know it's been given a bit of a revamp recently, and consume other content as well. Like the Yorkshire TNXP boys are brilliant for their tactics corner is phenomenal, and it sometimes just provides people with an understanding of how particular tactics works. And also one thing that sounds a beginner, the more you play, the better you will get. Your first season will be a hella steep learning curve. In my opinion, that's how I view it anyway. Then once you have that season, everything else is very sort of like almost like diminishing returns in terms of what you actually gain and know and how you apply it. But you'll make your mistakes and you learn. You'll make your mistakes in your buys. You'll make your mistakes in tactics. But you can't make those mistakes unless you actually play the game. Like, experience in MFL is stupidly valuable, and you have to be in it to get that experience. You can't buy experience in MFL unless you talk to someone for ages about the game and learn from them. But then you're doing the communicating with other managers bit. So there you go.
And I do have to lots of cutting in this episode while we're looking for questions. How do you pronounce the name of the question you're on right now?
Oh, well, I don't know. Gagna or Gagny Vala?
I was going Gagny Valley, but...
Yeah, he does. That's fine. That's how I pronounce it, so yeah.
Okay. The question from Gagny Valley is... how would you say MFL has changed the way you look at football games and just football overall?
Has MFL changed the way I look at football games or football overall? Probably not, because I watch it so much before I play MFL. So I feel like, it's not changed the way I look at like a formational game. Maybe some of the people, how it maybe changed my outlook on something, because I know some people like this. Go order a pint, £7 in the UK. Hang on, I could buy a kickoff pack for that. It changes your... I could buy a couple of Cobbo reward packs for that. That's what it sometimes changes with people. It's not necessarily your outlook on football in general. It's how you maybe perceive
Change
value.
Your value of money for your perception of money.
Yeah. So that's maybe one thing I'd say for that.
Yeah, I don't think MFL has changed the way I look at football. Maybe not that much, but maybe the other way around. When I am watching a football game and I see a certain tactic they are using, that I think... oh, how could I apply that to MFL? Or is that something that we could see as a feature added in MFL in the future?
So, my was gonna be just then. I know Heiting is no longer the manager of Ajax, but when he was, and you 2-0 down, 60 minutes, were you shouting, "Show us your match plan! Show us your match plan! Where's your match plan?"
Yeah. I was just waiting for the 60th minute to have a pop-up on my screen. Tactical changes applied.
Right. Speaking about value, even Andre has put, what do you feel about the market in MFL? What an open question.
Very open question. Yeah, I think... I think prices have stabilized quite a bit from where they used to be. I think we saw a lot more of very overpriced players on the marketplace, or who we now would say overpriced, but who actually did sell for those amounts as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think the value of the players right now is a lot better where they should be for the longevity of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, please can we bring up the Airtable? I know Zootert yourself and others have great tools that can do great things. Please bring the Airtable back. Hello, I'm recording the pod. The Christmas one. Yeah. Sorry. Parents returned. Will be the final Christmas episode before... it'll be the last Christmas episode before we get in the house. Won't be the last episode in here, but last Christmas one. But anyway, bring back the Airtable. But I do agree. I think the market has sort of stabilized slightly. There's me sort of going, oh, maybe I'll just give it a couple more weeks to buy some of these players. Maybe they might go down a bit more. I'm like, well, actually, they're not going down as much as I thought they did.
No. You have to be quick to snoop out the good deals.
And, it is Christmas, the time where people get a little bit of a financial stimulus package coming through to their bank accounts. Do we see a little boom in the market because people have a bit more, not Dapper dollar, not Disney dollar, but just, disposable dollar in their banks. So do we see a little bit of not a boom, but not a decrease? Speculation, because not financial advice. There we go.
Go back to almost the beginning of the pods when we were talking about goalkeepers. The question Andy Pearson asked is, do you think it's about time that goalkeepers also get 6 stats just like outfield players?
Is this the root cause hidden stats, wasn't it? I think he was a big, are they there? Would I love to see them? Yes. Could they be implemented like a player role where a player role has he's a, I don't know, but player role might be more to do with like long throw, long kick, that sort of thing. Is that really a role? No, it's like more like a Neuer sort of role. But Do I think they should have 6? Maybe not, but or you could probably maybe even could do.
I
But
think you can easily get to 6
I think you
goalkeeper
probably
stats.
yeah. But then it's I guess the one thing is like how do you? They're gonna have to think of a makeup for the overall, right? Because you can't just have like a 90 rated goalkeeper who's got like 20 diving. That's not gonna be possible. So they're gonna have to make up some matrix for that. Do I think they probably should? Yes, I think it gives a bit of uniqueness and a bit of sort of a bit of a, I was going to say dynamism. I was trying to say dynamic in a weird way. Like makes goalkeeper cards dynamic in that, so it's not just big number on front of card, which is just a bit too simple for goalkeepers in my opinion. So yeah, let's break it down to 6.
And if at that point we have a captain goalkeeper and the stat increase for the overall team is diving, we see dives all over the pitch that maybe could get us some extra penalties.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it depends what official we're getting. Can we give officials personalities? Can we get 5 different officials and we see I'm in my cup final later, or would have happened now. Hopefully, I've won it against Andy official. I see I've got bloody Howard Webb managing me. I'm like, oh god, he always favours the big teams. That sort of thing. Always he never gives Andy out for simulation. That sort of thing. Can we be a bit cheeky in that sense? But I'd love to see breakdown of stats. So. Which is preferential? Oh, sorry, this is from Heisey_A. Which is preferential for the development of a player? Number 1, starter in lower tier, i.e. Spark, with more match play as a regular starter, or bench player in a higher tier with less match play as a second string player. What's better for development, Father Zootert?
100% playing. I had a player back a couple seasons ago who always was the extra player on one of my higher rated teams just to fill up the squad with the 3 lowest uncommons I had in my agency who could never get a place anywhere.
Yeah.
This season, or this mid-season, I loaned him out to SLDR's new side. He was able to get in the kickoff league. First 3 days. Plus 3 overall.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, I completely agree. It's that. What's the biggest factors that give progression? Good training environment and playing matches. Can you give someone a lot of matches there on the bench? No. End of conversation, in my opinion. Just a quick one here. When we said about the multi-position player question right at the beginning, there was also the same one from the Malice. So just a shout out to him for also suggesting that question as well there. That was from the Malice on the second page. Yeah, that's one we've already done because it was answered sort of above by someone else. But I just wanted to say that.
How often do you think about How often do you think about? I also would like to manage a club in Diamond. Asked Risu.
Oh, Risu, bonsoir, Risu. How often do I think about managing a team in Diamond? I mean, a couple of seasons ago, I was thinking about it. And there's part of me recently, which is maybe... I think once I'm settled in the house, right? Season 12, Season 13. Oh, no, I can't do it in Season 13. I am part of the Ballers Down, so maybe I could have a little cheeky go at whichever club is in Diamond. Hopefully, anyway. We're making an assumption there's going to be a Diamond club still for BFC. I assume there would be. Maybe like Season 12 or Season 14 onwards. I'd like to maybe put my hat in the mix. Put my mix in the hat, sorry. Put my hat in the mix. Put my mix in the hat. Yeah, everyone knows what I'm trying to say there. To manage a team in Diamond. But
exciting times ahead.
Yeah. Are you part of the Ballers now? No. Get in there, Father Zootert. Then you can manage a team in Diamond. Anyone can get an invite. Do you want an invite? I can give you an invite.
Oh yeah, come on.
Yeah, I can give you an invite, Father Zootert. You can come Christmas giftings for all of us.
I think for me, of course, I think everyone wants to compete at that highest level, but I think it's not a way to buy a way into Diamond or to immediately get up in those higher levels without experiencing the tactical changes once you move up the divisions that you need to actually be competitive in those higher leagues. More scouting of your opponents, tactical variety that you need to have to actually play against different types of tactics that you actually learn once you progress through the stages. And I think that's really important if you want to be a mainstay in the higher divisions, to actually have that knowledge of the game first before you just buy your way into it.
And I believe it was as Sid said. He said it's kind of fun, but it's mostly like sweat and stress. It's not actually that fun in Diamond because there's so much at stake. So, do I want to be, stressed out playing MFL? No. Do I want to have fun playing MFL? Yes. So maybe when I can cope with the stress of Diamond, I'll apply myself to try and. Any Diamond managers, come talk to me in like 5 seasons time. This one comes in from Darwin3182. It's right at the top. Do you think that the possibility of individual player training and the targeted possibility of improving individual players to their maximum would be positive for the game? I think I understand that question, and I hope you do as well.
Yeah, I think it would be great to have something that you can more target a player's progression, especially when they have a strong secondary position and you want to actually have them excel in that position. You could give more focus on the passing or the pace or whatever they need for those positions to actually make them one of those position misfits that would really take your team to the next level.
Yeah, I know that in the white paper, that's sort of like training and in square brackets under consideration, we've got like types of training. So maybe users could be able to choose from different types of training to assign to each player, where they've got here, for examples, like aerobic training, mainly focuses on pace and physical attributes. Defensive training focuses on defending and physical. I think, maybe there is like an opportunity cost of that where their fatigue is lower for putting them in there, so you can't utilize them in games as much. You're trying to force training through those particular stats, but the cost is you may be kind of using like 1 or 2 games less per season. I know that a similar question, which maybe I'll sort of like tag on the end of this now, I've got to try and find who it was from, was the 60s, which I'm pretty sure is that's Nuggets. Big up Nuggets from the streams, if you know, you know. But do you think we should be able to add / change a player's position in the development center? I'm getting the development training piece here. In the development center, the longer in dev gel, the better that position becomes. I've seen some player stats that would be brilliant for a certain position, but doesn't have it listed on their card. What are your thoughts with that one, Father Zootert?
No, I don't think we should be able to add new secondary or fairly familiar positions to them, but to actually train the stats up of a particular position, I think I would be good, because I think otherwise you will at some point just see players with 6 different positions that can play anywhere in the field, and I don't think that would be the enjoyable experience of the game.
No, I agree. I think that if we could have training that targets stats, brilliant. But there's something about, you sort of remove the random element, the RNG element to like getting a player in a pack, or like the scouting element where you're scouting a player who does have the misfits in a particular different, in a better overall in a different position in the engine, that sort of thing. You just sort of dull everything down a bit, and you make it maybe a bit too easy to put players where you want them to play. There's something about this, the scouting, the analyzing players for your team. Otherwise, it just becomes a bit too. There's not many twists and turns. It's not very unique. So I wouldn't want to see us be able to put a secondary or tertiary position on a player that's not already in their existing, group. I wouldn't like to see that. I'd rather us be able to target particular stats that can help him, play better in his position or play better in his current secondary position, or so on and so forth.
And I'll mention Kiss Marlowe's question in here as well, who says, what would be a development-specific feature you would love to see implemented into the game soon? I know I want more gameplay immersion stuff, but I'm a big fan of my dev center alternatives, where they get.
He says, so sort of similar question above where they get no attribute progression, but they learn a new secondary position. So he wants secondary position as well. So we've kind of shot him down slightly there, but both saying we don't want secondary position. But I'd love to see some sort of, I don't know, Matt's kind of, I'm not sure if they ever said they would or they wouldn't, but sort of thought about it, like brainstorm about like an academy piece from that development side. I know some people would like to be able to use development passes for the rarities that are lower than the ones stated on the development pass. I think that could be a really neat feature because it's not being used on the rarity that it's built for, but it can be used for lower. So I can't really see maybe like the economic damages to that and what's wrong with that. People want to use a uncommon dev center pass for 4 seasons on a 50 rated common who's 16. I feel like you should be able to let them do that. I think that's not maybe a massive thing. So maybe an academy, but if we're talking something a bit more, attainable in the here and now, letting us use development passes on rarities lower than what it's stated on the front of it.
Or could we maybe have special dev center passes that have increased odds of improving a player's passing?
Ooh. Okay, I like that.
So that way we can meld the two ideas together to have some more different types of training into the dev center.
Yeah, and it's like they get 50% more XP on their passing stat.
Or a chance too.
Yeah, chance. They may never actually develop any quicker because of that, because of how potential works, and how unique progression paths are, and we don't know how much XP is required for a particular stat to increase. But the opportunity cost for there, which is one of the things you have to have a cost to do things, whether it be a fee or whatever, is that you can't use that player for X amount of time. That's so I like that. I like that. Zootert clause. Zootert clause. What have we got here? Stats don't lie. Facts don't care about feelings. But the eye test doesn't give a toss about your facts. Right. He said, what are your thoughts on player swaps? Would love it indirectly at MFL. Could be a player plus MFL deals too. So I guess we're talking about maybe expanding offers to more than just money. Can we do players? Can we trade? Basically.
Yeah, it is something you do see in the game already with 2 players just offering 1 cent for their players. But I think it would be a good feature to actually see as an official feature in the game as well. Or maybe change it from something like you sell 1 player for cheaper and then in return you get a guaranteed loan for next season, to have actually those contract clauses implemented into the game to have more trading realism in there.
Yeah, I think some sort of trading where you could introduce players, clubs, I don't know, development passes, for example, just some of those sort of assets that sometimes people fail to shift. If we do something like this, do we need a block button? Probably yes. What day should Snake be on now? Like day 74? I don't know what day he would be on now if he actually kept up his maybe Lucas is just waiting to hit day 100 and he's never hit it. Therefore, he'll never get his block button and cue the idea suggestion now saying day 100 of asking for a block button from Snake. But I did see people say they were complaining about someone else giving global offers. I think, I'm impartial to it, but if it makes other people happy, just give it them. Let them have it, fellas. Give them a block button. Are you pro or against block buttons?
I'll support Snake in this one. I'll be pro block. Pro block.
All right. That's like a weird way of saying Roblox. Right. We always do a hashtag. We still questions to go. We're going to do a hashtag. We'll be on the theme of Christmas, and this will be the final episode before Christmas. This week's hashtag, and plaster it all over the Discords, MFL, the WenDirk, the Ramble, the Yorkshire TNXP, all the great Discords we have in the community, and other ones that we maybe not thought of, and social media, and we'll repost all of your hashtags on social media as a thanks. Hashtag Merry Dirkmas. Hashtag Merry Dirkmas. Nice and simple. Merry Christmas with a Dirk class and twist. Merry Dirkmas. Right, let's continue with these questions. Stats don't lie. They'd also say number 2, a burn mechanic. There is a big surplus of players at the moment. What if you could scrap some for MFL at reduced rate, i.e. 25% of their reward pack value? Before you answer that, Zootert clause, were you around when we did trial the burning mechanism for a while?
Don't think so, no. When was that?
It's summer 24, maybe.
No.
So we had it for 2 instances. So it used to be a tool called Evaluate. And Evaluate you could trade on. So you could literally create trades of our players. but it's an external tool. And NFL managed to embed that tool within the within MFL. And what would happen is be like, right, you've got a week and here's the breakdown of all the values of players. Send your players, trade them to this account. MFL basically goes and accepts them all. And then they will, at like a week's time, then transfer your MFL value based on the players. So you can see the value of what your player was going to be in the trade. But effectively, you were just trading them to MFL to burn, to get rid of. And then, unfortunately, evaluate as a tool, then shut down. Therefore, the potential for us to do that again, shut down. So, would you like to see something like that? A burning mechanism, maybe?
Yeah, but I do think that 25% of their reward pack value wouldn't be the right way to go. I think there needs to be a lot more thinking about how that would actually look like, because what would be the right value for an older player or a player who has already thrown up their retirement versus a player who is in their prime. So I don't think it should be a flat fee of the 25, but I do think that with the amount of players in the game, it's something that would actually benefit the game overall.
Yeah, I think some people have even seen this season with how the marketplace has been, how easy it is to pick up uncommons for a particular value of a particular overall. That last season we found that, maybe the season before we found that loading out common players, low common players, you could probably get rid of most of them. Whereas this season, you can't get rid of most of them, because why would someone have a 45 rated 20-year-old when they can literally for like $3? I think it was James last week, like a $3, like a 70, mid 70, high 70 rated player, or low 70 rated player. I mean, it's kind of obvious, right? Like going to this whole value thing. Can I buy 10 players for the price of 2 pints? Which one gives me more enjoyment over the long term? Depends if you're an alcoholic or not. But but I think, yeah, maybe would like to see a burning mechanism. Yes, but does the value? Is it a complicated algorithm to think of because of how many nuances and factors are involved? Yes. So, but I would like to see one as well.
Long questions now.
Yeah.
In a similar vein to the last question, we got a question from Avalanche DE, who asked, do you think there should be a way to loan out players to a development team hosted by MFL with a limit of 1 to 2 players per manager?
See, maybe this is me being a bit, I don't know. Is loaning out to a development team by MFL just loaning to a fellow manager? Like if Father Zootert, you're a great friend of mine. Could I just loan them out to you, and then you're my MFL development team? I think I'll be maybe a bit cynical, a bit like arrogant in my answer here, but you've got development center, dev jail, and you've got just loading other managers, which I would like to think tick both those boxes. Then are you basically making the assumption that MFL will run your players better? What happens if MFL lose all their games with your players? Who are you going to blame then? You can't blame MFL. Well, you probably could, but they don't want to be blamed for anything like that. No,
I think the development center already does most of this to have them shipped out to MFL, who then take care of your progression for you. So I think we already have this feature pretty much in the game with development center.
Yeah, I agree. Right, next question from Harmonica. What do you enjoy most about an MFL day? Checking progression, planning your teams, watching the match, planning ahead, scrolling the market, banter on Discord, podcasts, etc. He said, for me, it's the actual matches, but do let me be planning ahead short term and long. I probably think I'm missing the letter out there, but he's saying for me it's the actual matches, but he does enjoy the planning ahead for short and long term, I think is what he said. What's the best part of your MFL day?
For me at the moment, it has been scrolling the marketplace, finding the players I need to improve my squads for next season. Yeah. Trying to go up, trying to go to silver, so I'm really trying to focus on having players for that level in my own agency. Mm-hmm. I think I was lucky enough this season in bronze that I only need to bring in about 5 players, I believe. And from next season onwards, I want to try to have most of my squad for my own agency again. So I've been really scrolling the marketplace, looking at every new legion that pops up to see if they are the good fit for me. And I think for the first time since a long time, I've been doing that now for this season. So it's something new, something enjoyable, and I like it.
Yeah, nice, good answer. I think maybe mine depends on what time of day we're in. We wake up in the morning, our progression's good. Whoa, progression's the best part of my day. But if it's not, I go, well, actually, I've got matches that can maybe be my best part of my day. Lose my matches. Well, actually, no, maybe it's the marketplace or planning ahead.
And it's not the podcast.
I'm getting through the answers here. Zoo. Santa Zootert, Zoota Claus. Obviously, all the watch-alongs. I think we've really ramped up the watch-alongs this year. Really, have been amazing. So whenever I've got one of those on, I love doing them because I love being able to talk to you guys, yourselves. I can't keep saying Father Claus, Father Zootert, Zootert, and others who want to come in, have their games being played. The amount of time that always makes me laugh when everyone goes, like, thank you for showing my game, and then just constant abundance. Everyone's saying thank you. Don't say thank you, guys. Like, I'm saying thank you for you guys being in here and suggesting your games to me. But the podcast streams. But there's something I will agree on the marketplace bit this season, because there's been some deals. I've enjoyed trying to find them. And I also enjoy, I guess we're basically saying every single option that Harmonika's given us here, which is kind of really not probably the answer he's looking for. I think this might be a bit weird, but I think when my games aren't going well, I enjoy everything else apart from that 5 minutes, because I'm like, oh, here we go again. Another loss, another poor result. But when the games are going well, when the Wyverns are winning and dominating, then the match experience is brilliant, because I just love seeing the team perform, and I love seeing the dots coming together and performing well. But I think I'm always about the community sort of focus here. So whether it's the WenDirk Cups, the podcast, the streams, the goal rush, anything to do with the community orientated, my mindset, I think I said this on maybe a pod with Meet the Manager with Ryan, a lot of my mindset now is like community side to it. So yeah, that's what I enjoy most about the day, the community side for me. Oh, is it a bonus question as well? Sorry. Also, most enjoyable part of the season: start, finish, middle season, pre-season, double game days, etc. For me, love building my squads pre-season.
I think for me, it's the pre-season period of the game as well. It can be hectic as well, because your inbox gets flooded with all the other managers who want to loan players from you. You are trying to find the best deals out there as well. So it's a hectic part of the season, but I think that's what we all signed up for. To actually see that squad coming together bit by bit to a functioning team.
And you're so hyped for that first match day, and then you ask yourself after that 90 minutes of football, why was I so hyped for this first match day? Because it's been an appalling performance and you've lost the game. But I agree, it's the anticipation, the excitement for the season, the pieces coming together, the looking back at what you've done in the pre-season. The mid-season probably one of the you got the pack drops as well in the pre-season and the mid-season. But the mid-season it flies by, and you tell yourself, I'm going to prepare for the mid-season, do some transfers. You don't. You're like, well, actually, I've actually not done anything here, and it's kind of flown by. But I will go. It's the pre-season. That's what I'll go for with mine. I think we'll maybe do 2 more each. We won't get time to do all of them, but we'll do 2 more each.
Yeah, I was thinking save Root's question for the very last.
Okay, yeah.
Be a bit weird if you asked me that one, probably.
Yeah, but... I'm glad you said that.
A question from Maiko here, who asked, when do you think we will get our own made jerseys on top of our player cards?
Well, that seemingly probably is like a redesigned website piece. I don't know. Do you know what? When is the jersey on one of our club images on the players? Let's go. Let's just pull a month. Let's pull a week. Let's pull a week out of the year, like between 1 and 52 weeks of the year. Which week's it going to be? My lucky number's 27, but that's basically halfway through the year, or just over halfway. So I think it's before that. Let's go with half 27's 13 and a half, and that's a really poor number to suggest. So let's round up. Let's say week 14
Ooh,
of
very quick.
2026. Maybe it doesn't get announced then, but maybe or maybe it's not released on that week, but maybe we either get it before then. You got 14 weeks, MFL. 15 weeks to put club jerseys on top of players. There you go.
I am saying it will drop in week 21.
Week 21. Okay, we'll look back at these predictions and we'll see how horribly wrong we are. Thigh11 says, for this year of 2025, what do you think has been the best improvement on MFL?
Has to be the realistic players for me. I think at the point it was announced, a lot of people were against it, but I don't think anyone can imagine looking at the cartoon players anymore at this point. Everyone is so used to it. It's part of the game. It's part of the new image, the new graphic side they try to move towards. And I think it's been, after some initial pushback, very well received by the whole community.
Yeah, you think back at it now. It was August time they got we saw it in July the 1st or July the 2nd. No, July the 4th, I think it was actually we saw it. And then maybe a couple of weeks later they announced it. It was then the pre-season or the mid-season drop. They got announced. We saw them, and then that Friday they got fully announced. The light switch happened. My best improvement, probably the organic angles that came with that. I think the organic angles. And you know, I'm trying to think how much stuff has come out this year.
It's crazy.
Loads. You obviously had all the match plans. I'm pretty sure the individual instructions was this season as well. I hope individual instructions were this year. There's been so much.
Definitely this year, yeah.
Yeah, it would have to have been, right? I'll go with individual instructions because you just get, as Cav will have to say, just more flavour into what you can. Actually, do you know what? I think so many. Player trading is quite a big one, or like the offering is quite a big one. It just maybe learning how to airdrop. That's been quite a big one.
It's also a very good one. Has made life a lot easier when doing the giveaways.
No, I think I'll go for the individual instructions and what they bring to the game and the match plans and allow you to actually play MFL in a bit more of a tactical, more of a tactical way, and allow you to play MFL how you would like to play the game, not having to change team instructions to try and figure out something. You can play to the strength of your players on an individual level. That's what I'm going to go for.
Hey, next question we have is from Merlin, who asked, which MFL manager do you look up to the most and why?
Which MFL manager do I look up to the most and why? That's a really good question. I look up to. I guess maybe I feel like there's some of the obvious answers would be like you Sid and your Bob because of what they've done, going from the depths of the pyramid all the way up. When something happens in modern world, and they're like, this will be studied in 400 years time, this timeline, this sort of thing. Will in 10 seasons time, the rise of, Soul Iron Pigs be studied by future MFL managers? Probably yes. But I think also managers like Trust, the amount of clubs he runs. I know he has a very sound system, but it's a hell of a lot of time to play and do that. James, when he came on last night, and just the depth that he goes into with tactics and data, deriving data from matches, and anyone who goes to any sort of long depth when it comes to the marketplace and their scouting or tactical side, those individuals I think I look up to because they're doing something more than what I'd done. Yeah. So whether it's tactical changes like Kev or it's Bob or Sid, the people who looking down to stupidly granular details, I think I probably look up to them the most.
Yeah, I think aside looking from people at their achievements in MFL you look up to, but the amount of managers who create secondary websites or apps for the game which help improve user experience, I think they are actually keystones of the community and makes everyone's life so much easier without it having a financial benefit or anything for them. They just do it all out of their own free will, and I think that is something to really look up to in those managers.
100% agree with you. Right, I've got one here from Jay Krizazi. Pronunciation's never been my forte. What would be the next big thing which could cause the next boom?
Ooh.
His answer, he says, promoting with some American streamers for the USA audience.
Who knows? Maybe we could get a World Cup boom in America, coming World Cup, and have that promote and hit two birds with one stone in that way.
Exactly. No, I was thinking the World Cup. Maybe just New York Times Square, big advert.
Oh.
MFL, Bosch. So sure, that can't cost much to put up there. Maybe it does, but maybe it doesn't. I feel like the World Cup seems the natural answer.
Yeah.
The most obvious one is the World Cup. So yeah, I'll go with that as well. I think they've got to do a little building for a lot of preparation, but I believe in the team in that sense. And I'm very much looking forward to 2026. I think it's, Almond says what excites you the most about the project heading into the new year. I think it's like all the redesign stuff coming into effect, the website. I'm hoping the website redesign brings through lots of more features with it, but it's not a simple like, here's what we currently have here, let's reskin it. It's let's reskin and add more. That's what I imagine it is. Like, I think it was on the Ramble, they picked out there's like an MF, or I think it was when Laird was on the Ramble earlier on in the week. He said about there's like an MFL or MFL World or World MFL or something like that on one of those teaser pictures. Like, what is that? Like, what is that all about? I'm going to see more community driven things with an MFL. I'm also excited about like where WenDirk goes, where all the other content creators go, and how they grow. But I'm just looking forward to that redesign and what features and functionality come along with it, and if Wyverns get out of bronze as well.
That's the most exciting thing for 2026.
Yeah, right. Father Zootert, you've got one final question to ask me.
Yeah,
and we're going to do our duck race.
And the manager asking the very final question of the pod is Mr. Root Course. And his question is especially for Jimbo. Will Calva return in 2026?
Will Calva return in 2026? I kind of got two answers to this. Will he return in 2026 in terms of making an appearance? Yes, because the very first episode 2026, Calva will be joining me live from wherever his place is in Poland still. That he moved in 2 months ago. Does he return fully? I actually don't know the answer to that because, he's only had his kid probably about 6 weeks ago. So that's still very new, and he's got a new job and he's got the kid, etc. I hope he does. I really do miss him. I think the community misses him. I know he's still part of the community, but in terms of like the active role. So you better believe it, folks, when I say when he comes on in 2 weeks' time, I'm gonna be asking all these questions to him. Maybe live on the episode, we can get an answer for certain from Calva. And hopefully, it's not an answer that we don't want to hear. we need more Dutchmen in the studio. That's all I'm going to say. We need more Dutchmen in the studio. Do you think we see Calva come back?
I think he's going to make more frequent appearances over the next year than we have had of him in the last couple of weeks since he announced his retirement.
He's in retirement. He's bringing the boots back. He's bringing the mic back. He's coming out of retirement. Right. They're all the questions we're going to do for today. We've not managed to get through everyone, which is literally a first. Usually we'll either have so much or we'll still get through it. But for those who we haven't answered, which I'm pretty sure we've got Kamikaze, Player MFL, FR, Root, we just answered yours.
Good look at that one.
BNC Mar. Yeah, I can't really pronounce that. And Cud Tim. There's probably a couple of others which I can't see on the list here. Apologies for not answering yours. Hopefully the next couple of episodes I'll bring like community questions and I'll bring them in. But apologies for not answering them on this case. But we do have 3 kickoff packs to give away. And we're going to do it with a 1-minute duck race. I've put all of your names, regardless if your question wasn't asked or answered on today's pod. I've put them all into a list, all 51 of you. I had to go through and double check. All 51 of you have been put into a duck. I'm going to share my screen so Zootert can see. And the top three are going to be winning themselves a kickoff pack each. So, Zootert, can you do the honors, please, sir, and give me a number to shuffle this by?
The magic number will be 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. So to end this pod, we're going to do a lovely duck race. And we're underway. Remember, folks, the top 3 win a kickoff pack each. Who will those be?
We see some people getting off an early lead now, but from experience, we know that the early ducks aren't always the winning ducks.
Yeah, that's not the meta play here. The meta play is not to go gun-ho and go crazy at the start. You want to leave a bit of energy in the tank ready for that final push in the last 15 to 10 seconds or so.
30-second mark, we will see the first push of the leading pack.
Have you ever won a duck race in the watch-along, Zootert? We do so many now. I obviously keep track of them, but...
No, I don't think I've ever won one. I think I've gone second last once when there were last place giveaways, but I don't think I've ever been fortunate enough to win a single prize.
Next year. And here we go. So we had Kamikaze was out the front, but he's lost a bit of pace. Here we go, Bumblebee. Malrix coming first, Mr. Bumblebee. I love that from a Transformers point of view. Who's going to be our second and third place ducks joining on the podium? It's going to be Malrix, Kamikaze, and Apex NGH1. Congrats to you 3. I will be in touch. If you are that name in MFL, which I'm pretty sure a couple of you are, I will airdrop those packs to you at the start of season 11, so you don't get a player that's aging, which none of us want a player that's aging, right? We want a nice youthful player. Before we depart, we have to say thank you and let him get busy preparing for a couple of nights' time when he'll be traveling across the globe, delivering MFL presents to us all. Father Zootert, thank you very much for joining me on what has been a delightful Christmas Q&A.
You're very welcome. And I hope that everyone listening to the pod now has tuned in for the Christmas special yesterday.
Yes.
And if you didn't, you will all be getting coal in your stockings.
Exactly. We need mega numbers, and I know we're going to get it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So that's what I've got to do in like an hour's time. So, right. Thank you, Father Zootert. Remember the hashtag of this week, hashtag Merry Dirkmas. But seriously, guys, Merry Christmas. Enjoy a couple of days off before the Masters and the Classics start. And we'll see you this time next week for an episode of the WenDirkCast. Thank you for listening.
Merry Dirkmas.
Merry Dirkmas.